Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here, back with another guide for Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. This time I'm going to show you how to defeat Divine Beast Dancing Lion. For this battle, you want to make sure that your armor has a decent amount of elemental resistance on it. Try to get it as high as possible without going into heavy roll. For myself, I used the Heavy Uchigatana plus 25 with the Sacred Blade Ash of War. I don't really focus on this holy damage buff. It's more so just have like a range attack whenever possible. And that bonus damage is nice, but you don't have to really focus on it too much. I do have the Solitude armor set from the Black Jail Knight boss early on in the DLC. Most important talisman in this setup is probably the Pearl Drake Talisman plus 2. Greatly reduces non-physical damage incoming, so really important there. Also have the Great Jar's Arsenal, which greatly increases equip load. I have the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman and the Erdtree's Favor plus 1. If you have the plus 2 Erdtree's Favor, go with that. This character is not currently in the Ashen Capital, so I didn't have it. For my flask, I have the Opaline Hard tier. Once again, this is greatly reducing incoming elemental damage. And then the Crimson Crystal tier, just to give me some health back. For my blessings, I do have 5 Scattertree blessings and 5 Revered Spirit Ash blessings. This boss early on in the DLC is kind of like your Margit the Fell Omen. You're going to run into it, you're going to get your butt kicked, and then you need to go adventure somewhere else, level up your character a bit, increase your blessings, and then come back. That's what I did, and I had a much easier time with it. Okay, so phase 1 of this boss fight lasts until the boss reaches about 75% HP. And for the most part, it's just introducing you to its physical attacks as well as this sort of stone breath. It doesn't petrify you or anything, but it just looks like it would. When the boss stands up on its hind legs and begins spinning around, I recommend just doing your best to stay close to the boss. The camera is the biggest boss in this room. It's invisible, but it will drive you insane. So just keep that in mind, and whenever the boss is spinning around, try to stay as close to it as possible. This way you go underneath the breath. Sometimes that won't work out. Try to rotate to the left as the boss is spinning and sort of follow it. Alternatively, you could try to time your roll to the right while the boss is spinning, and then you might have a better time. Okay, so moving right into phase 2 here. The boss basically has the same exact attacks, but they all have some sort of elemental bonus to them, if you will. So when the boss has all these lightning attacks, the breath stays on the ground a decent amount longer, I have found, just because electricity tends to scatter. Pretty much every single attack will call down a lightning storm. When that happens, just move out of the way. It is very important that you learn how to time your dodge rolls for the lightning bolt throwing attacks, because that will land and then immediately start a thunderstorm around you. Again, with this sort of spinning breath attack, you want to be very careful and try to stay as close to the boss as possible. The boss will eventually transition to another element. This time I got wind, which was kind of nice. I really hate the frost attacks. I find them very difficult to dodge, but I got wind here. This sort of backflip kick there, when the boss is sort of just floating in the air, watch out for it. It's almost always going to be that attack, and you can roll in any direction to get out of it, either forward or backward. Don't recommend rolling to the side there just because the boss sort of arcs as he goes, so just either roll forward or backward through that flip kick, and you'll be okay. The tornado there, you can roll through it. It's just very difficult to time. I don't recommend running, otherwise it will catch up to you. Almost every single time it caught up to me, I was only able to outrun it a single time in all of my hour and a half of attempts. So just keep that in mind. Do your best to just roll through it. The frost phase might be the second most annoying for me, just because the boss is constantly building frostbite, and you really don't want that to sort of attach to you, and you want that to build up all the way. I do not recommend bringing boluses into this fight. They're basically just a waste of time against frost, and when you're eating those, you're just going to open yourself up to more damage. So just try your best to either avoid the boss during that frost phase or roll through the attacks. I almost recommend avoiding it more just to kind of get him to cycle into some other element. For the lightning attacks there, you can actually see where the lightning is going to strike on the ground. So if you have managed to roll away from an attack, then what I recommend doing is just paying very close attention to the ground and then seeing where the lightning is going to strike. After the boss chucks a lightning bolt at you, it will always illuminate that entire section of the ground, and that area is all going to be lightning in a second, so just move very far away from that area. because lightning does have splash damage in this fight, so it's very, very important that you get as far away from that section as possible. Again, we're going to get a tornado here. Managed to block it with a plus 25 brass shield. I only took half stamina damage, so luckily I was able to just sort of back up and eat that hit with my shield, and I ended up being okay. The boss does have a couple of grab attacks that I want to mention. You won't see them here. I didn't get hooked up by them, but when the boss sort of rears onto its hind legs and then chomps, it's going to do a grab attack. It can either chomp twice. I've also seen it chomp up to 4 times. You want to wait for those chomps. Don't panic roll, but just wait for those chomps, and then once the boss starts moving towards you, roll either to the left or to the right. Do not roll backwards. I don't even recommend rolling forwards. Roll to the left or the right, and then you should avoid the grab. If the boss grabs you, you'll get a red debuff around you. What's going to happen then is if you drink from your flask, you're going to heal the boss. I have never been able to get it to drop off the debuff. I've waited forever and it just never goes away. I'm not exactly sure if there's a way to negate that debuff. Otherwise, you may just have to eat the heal and you'll end up healing yourself too, but the boss does heal when you have that red debuff. So avoiding those grab attacks is of the utmost importance. Otherwise, the fight will drag on. You'll end up wasting flasks and you're not going to have a good time. And that's basically the fight. So, again, what I recommend doing is when you first reach this boss, if you've just sort of been following the guidance of Grace, you really haven't been adventuring anywhere, I really do recommend just leaving and coming back to this boss after you get your blessings up to at least 5. Those blessings are super, super important. They buff all of your stats as you play the game, and they are exclusive to the DLC area. So even if you're a bit lower level, find those blessings, keep leveling them up, and then come back, and you'll have a much easier time. Treat this boss like Margit. It's sort of in your way, and it's encouraging you to go do other things. And that's it. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below this video. You can also leave a super thanks by clicking the heart icon below this video. Don't forget to join the community Discord. The link for that is in the description below. As always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.